All right, the recording is on. So welcome everyone. So please be sure you have just your mic and mute as long as you're not speaking, so we don't have a noise in the background. And I'm very, very pleased to welcome my very dear good friend, Steve Nobel. Steve, it's been such a long time I haven't seen you. One rules here, if you are not smiling, you have to get out of the room. So that's the rule here. So everyone need to smile.
All right.
Cool. Steve, I'm gonna introduce you to the little audience, but first, thank you very much for your time. I know time is very important for you, so thank you so much for showing up.
All of us, right?
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve, we met, I believe it was 2015 in England, in London. So it's been a little while now. We're good friends and in touch. Steve has been such an amazing mentor and friends and guide for me when I moved to England. I was very lost, and he was one of the first that I connected with, especially with all these starseed things, because that's what we're going to talk about today. Steve, you're an incredible author. Your last book, The Spiritual Entrepreneur, correct, for Starseed, but mostly you have been the director of what was the name, Alternative in London, and this big movement for Starseed and helping Starseed, leading workshops, retreats, a lot of seminars in London, and working on one-on-one with this soul matrix system that you created to really help Starseeds to manage through this crazy 3D on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Is anything you would like to add to say for us?
I remember saying to you in a cafe, Ben, you have to go and find yourself. And then you went off to Russia and Georgia, and you went off, and you did it. You went off to find yourself, and now you're in America, finding yourself over there. I think it's following your travels. It's brilliant what you're doing.
Thank you.
So yeah, fantastic. No, and Alternatives wasn't really for Starseeds. It was for spiritual seekers and light workers. I mean, at the time we didn't really have that term Starseeds, but we had, I think, touched about 100,000 people coming through the doors and created some great seminars. Great people came over. Probably a lot of you guys have heard Joe Dispenza come over, and Deepak Chopra. All of the kind of big names. I didn't say I'd liked all of them. Some of them I got to meet, and I didn't really particularly like them. But they were good presenters, so I thought, well, okay, you're a good presenter. But the ones I liked off stage and on stage, they were my favorites, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think there's a certain genuineness. If you know what they say, if you're in a hotel, if you want to really find out, go and ask the bellboy, what's really happening. And so yeah, I think, it's interesting how people who are on that superstardom would treat people who they might think are lower down the food chain than them, and some people treat you brilliantly and beautifully, and which is lovely. I want people, it's nice to see people walk their talk, right? Not
exactly.
Just do the talk, So yeah. So I was there for 13 years as a director. I didn't really know much about running a company, but I did know about channeling. So I started to ask Spirit, how do I run this company? Because it was kind of in difficulty when I took it over. It had a good reputation, but no money and bad morale. So we had to turn around no money and bad morale, which took a couple of years. And then I just basically said to Spirit, what do I do here? And I got told, do this, do that, employ that person, go there, run that. And I just followed it. And then it worked. So when I left there, I kind of eventually, well, how do I apply it to my own business, to my own self, and my own what I'm doing? Just say yes to everything, which is what I eventually did. At the beginning, I had a bit of a resistance in there, because I didn't really want to leave Alternatives. I didn't really want to change my life, but Spirit says time to change, and I didn't want to do it. So I went in a dark night of the soul for 6 years. And then when I came out, my first, because it was all cut off 6 years of nothing, no connection, no intuition, no guidance. I was like, my radar had been switched off. Very difficult, because I took it for granted. I just thought, and then it switched off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really took it for granted. I didn't think about it. And then when I woke up one morning in 2016, a voice said to me, kind of welcome back, and time to talk about Starseeds and Ascension. And I was like, what? That's not the voice I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear, go have fun, go play, not go and do this stuff. And I spent 2 weeks meditating, thinking, do I really want to do? I'm already weird enough, It seemed to be a weird. The spirit would say, be weirder. And and so in the end I said yes, I did it. And over the last 5 years I've been learning, well, what are Starseeds? What are they doing? What do they need? What help do they, or what are they here for? What's their missions? All these kind of questions. It's kind of unraveling bit by bit. I'm not saying I know all the answers, but none of us know all the answers, but I've got some finger on it. Some of it.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for this little introduction. And so one of the questions that pops to me is what's happening today on Earth? What are we really going through? Because it really seems like we are going through something, all of us, and we can witness, Starseed or not, people are really going through some sort of a awakening, and everyone is speaking about this 3D, 5D, this shift. So what is that? What's your perspective on this? What's your insight that you have?
So the planet, well, okay, two things. The soul is multidimensional. Otherwise, nothing makes sense. Otherwise, all the things I'm going to say, that makes no sense. The soul is multidimensional means that we live in many planes of existence. This is one, and there are many others. And we've had connections with other star races, other dimensions, higher vibrationally, because each dimension is separated vibrationally. On the planet now, we're in an interesting position, really, because you have the old world, the 3D world, the hard world of the school of hard knocks, where the dark have been ruling the planet for a long time, hidden in the wings, mostly hidden. Like the Wizard of Oz, that film, The Wizard of Oz, with the wizard behind the curtain pulling the thing. And then the dog goes running up and pulls the curtain, and they all see the wizard. And this is what we're in the position now of seeing the wizards behind the curtains. Most of us can see it, but of course I don't know, 90% of the planet can't see it, because they're not looking for it. Even if they see it, they will completely, well, I don't know what I saw, I must have made a mistake or something. So the planet is shifting in vibration. It's been doing it for a while now. It's accelerating over the last few years. Since 2012 accelerated, but now is really accelerating. And of course, all of the dark forces in the shadows are not hiding. You can't hide anymore. They're becoming obvious, and also they're not trying to hide. If anyone with eyes to see or ears to listen can see and hear, all of the media everywhere is running a script. All of the political parties are running a script. They've been given the script. Do this, say this, and some places may push harder, and then some countries are pushing it further, and some are waiting. It's the kind of push and see what works, and come back and push again. So in England we have the lockdowns and masks and all this kind of stuff, and then we had the mandatory vaccines for care workers, and now we've had mandatory vaccines for hospital workers. And it's a creep, try and push as far as you can. And in Austria they really pushed, and I think the armed forces and police kicked back, and so they're trying out across the planet. So these dark forces have been rolling out this I don't know what to call situation is probably the neutral word. I explained it in different ways in a webinar, and I had a few angry emails. Oh, how can you say these things? And so I'm a bit more careful these days about the situation on the world is being rolled out. It's rolled out to an agenda. And that rolling out is clever, and in a kind of cunning, intelligent level. It's clever. It's well thought out. It's not stupid. And of course, some people don't believe it. And there's a brilliant video I found on YouTube called Monopoly, Who Owns the World? And in this video, it shows that every single major company in the Western world is actually owned by two corporations, Vanguard and BlackRock, I think they're called. And so it's very easy to cascade to all the media, all the food giants, all the political parties, all the military. Everything is cascaded down. it's a pyramid of control, really. So we're in a point on the planet of the prophecies, you could say. Book of Revelations is rolling out now. It's rolling out now. The horsemen are rolling. They're riding on the television sets. You know, they're kind of, hey, we're here, and nobody's paying any notice.
So is it something that how can I say, is it because, you know, when we look at the human design aspects, and I know you know a little bit of human design because you know I really like that, and I also know that you enjoy astrology and you know a lot of astrology as well. So is it something that like, should I say, the program that we are living in is just, it's doing its things, and we don't really have anything to do, it will happen anyway? Or is it something that the ancient knew about it, like a cycle, you know, it's coming back to something? Or is it what, you know, what it really is? Because everyone is kind of like, oh, but that's a revelation, so it's coming back again. And some people are like, oh no, it's totally new. We don't really know, right, what is really happening.
No, there are galactic calendars, really, you could say, or you could call it, it's not really a clock, but you know, everything is in time and space. It's not random. It's a bit like, I heard it explained once, which made sense to me. Winter is ending, and spring is beginning, but it's very hard to predict. Tomorrow it's going to start shine, and the day after it's hard. But what we do know is the energy of winter is ending, and the energy of spring is beginning, and all of the volatility that's happening between those two places is hard to predict, and it's very volatile in the moment. And the volatility comes because there's a lot of light on the planet, and there's a lot of old darkness that doesn't want to let go of its control and manipulation. But the light is increasing every day. The light's increasing, and so the volatility is getting worse. And it will get worse before it gets better. This is my feeling. But we're looking at the dawning of a new age. The spring is arrived on the planet, but it's not an easy, you know, it's not easy, really. We've got to shake off winter, and you know, we're not completely in the spring. We're not completely out of winter. We're in that overlap. And which is why we have an increased so much control. You know, it's like there's an urge for freedom. There's this big push for freedom of expression, freedom of, I want to follow my life's purpose. There's a big push for many people. And at the same time, there's an equal and opposite control. And almost, it's not totally, but it reminds me a little bit of the 1930s, you know, after the roaring 20s, you had the 30s of totalitarian fascism. And this is what's starting to creep back in. And most people are not even seeing it. They're not really, they're oblivious to it. But I think enough people are awake to stop it. It will go so far and it will be stopped, because it can't be allowed to progress too far. We look at it and it's, you know, I know a lot of people even lose hope looking at the control. It's a bit like the Lord of the Rings, you know, the dark forces are so big, and little Frodo's only got his little ring to throw in the mountain, but it's all these forces between him. And then finally he does it. It's a bit like that. We feel, oh my God, it's so dark and so difficult, and we can't possibly, the light can't possibly come here. And then it's something happens and it starts to all, like a dominoes will start to fall. But we're not at that domino effect yet. It's coming some point. I don't know when.
And wow. So do you feel it's coming for all of us, or like some of us won't be able to make this shift? Because when we look again on the human design aspect and perspective, the human design speak about 2027, which is the end of one of the cycle that we are in at the moment. And we're going to go into a new cycle. So that's kind of like what you're explaining as well. And because, you know, it's 2027, it's here, it's in a few years. So we are really in this volatile transition where we need to remove the old and to completely let go the old and embrace what is coming. So is it kind of the same? And what do you think, like everyone can go through this shift, or some people may not make it?
Well, there's a great calendar called the Toltec calendar and prophecies, and they're really good because they say the end of the fifth sun, the old sun, the old age, which was masculine, externally focused, began to end in 1991, July 1991. And there's an eclipse. They always mark eclipses, and that was the beginning of the end of that, and the beginning of the energy of the sixth sun. 2012, which a lot of people were going, oh, we'll be in paradise by the following day. It was do you really think that's going to happen? But anyway, I remember having a conversation with somebody going, are you really telling me that the day after it's all going to be paradise? He was saying, yeah. And I'm like, no. It's going to take years to unravel some of this mess. So anyway, 2012, the fifth sun and the sixth sun was equal power. The outgoing energy and the incoming was equal. This year, May of this year, there was an eclipse, and the sixth sun began to really move beyond the pull of the old sun. But I think actually they say 2027, I think it's November, there's an eclipse, and they say that is the final kabang, goodbye. There's no more energy of it. So yeah, it's another 5 years, but
and in the 5 years, like, so much can happen, because who would have thought about what happened in 2020, right? And like in such a year and a half, how the world have completely changed. It's kind of crazy. So we still have 5 years to go.
Well, yeah, I think what the dark side are doing is they're creating a kind of timeline, actually, for some people, or timelines. And those timelines mean there's a number of people on the planet who've not finished with the evolution of 3D. 3D, you know, us versus them, who's to blame, you know, fighting the enemy, patterning and all that. So a number of people will follow that timeline. And that timeline doesn't look very good. It looks, you know, if you look at it, it looks pointing towards global tyranny. But some people want to explore global tyranny. So, you know, enjoy. If you want to go down there, have fun. I don't think it will be a lot of fun, but go.
Without us, we don't want to go.
No, we're on the ascending, because anybody interested in following the stuff is going, we're not going down that way. We know where you know that scene in the Matrix where Neo says, stop the car, I want to get out, and Trinity goes, no, Neo, you know where that road leads, you don't want to go down there.
Exactly.
And he goes, okay, and he goes off and he has the bugs pulled out of him, remember that, all that stuff. So we're not going down. We've probably explored it somewhere, and we don't want to go there again. You know, some of us may have explored it on Orion. Orion was a pretty dark system for a while. And Orion, I think the Matrix actually is a reflection of some of the Orion type of programming, you know, and there are other, Ghost in the Shell was another one, and Star Wars. Orion was pretty heavy. And we've still got some of that old Orion karma and programming that some people are working out. And they want to go down there and have fun down there, but we don't. So we're heading for the higher dimension of Earth. To get there, I'm really not sure of all the events which are going to happen to get us there, because I think this COVID is just one event amongst, and there may be various events that really shake. The whole planet has to be shaken up strongly. You know, this is just a little first shake, you know. We need more shakes to go, you can't live like this anymore. The planet can't sustain this way of being anymore. You can't pollute, you can't war, you can't enslave people. You know, these are old programming, and it has to all stop. So I'm not quite sure how it will happen.
So do you mean that when you speak about program, do you mean like we are like all plugged or linked into those kind of program? Because I remember when we did some work together, I had some amazing healing with you, and we were able to remove some program which is like old limiting beliefs and stuff like that. So do you mean that we all have some sort of program, or we are all plugged into like a collective conscious program that is holding us, or what?
Yeah, well, even just think about this lifetime. Let's not think about other lifetimes. You have conditioning from childhood in the womb to however, you know, I don't know, whatever age, then you leave home. But there's all this conditioning, and we have to undo those stories, conditioning, belief systems. Some of them are so obvious that we can't see them. You know, the most insidious ones we can't see. We just look at the world and go through a filter of whatever the story is and go, this is the way the world is, until someone says, hey, your glasses are a little bit, you know, steamy or something. And then you have to kind of wash it, and you go, hey, I can see a new world. It's changing. So there's all those programs, and those programs come from religion. you know, even though religion is not so strong now in the Western world, there's still a lot of religious programming there in families and everything. Education is a big program, you know, lots of programs in education. If you've been through the corporate world, lots of programming in the corporate world, you know, got to be on your desk on time, Mr. Anderson, you know, all of that kind of thing. You know? So, and then there's ancestral programming, which goes back a long, long way. And ancestral programming, you know, we've all been born in 3D families. None of our families probably are 5D. Maybe some of you had a 5D parent. You're very blessed if you have one. I didn't. My parents were evacuated in the war, Second World War, from the Blitz, you know, Germans coming over bombing, and they ran off, and they had program of rationing. My mother used to, till the day she died, was collecting tins of soup in the cupboard, loads of it. You know, we had to get rid of loads of these old tins. And so she had that scarcity mentality, which comes from the 50s, post-war scarcity. So there's all of that. And it's not do what you love, it's do what you should do what you have to do what you must do what you're duty bound to do. That's all the values, you know. If any of you are, I mean, Tom may be kind of in that kind of bracket with me, and you know, some of the younger ones will go, well, I don't really know what you mean, but I was born in the 50s, where it was just post-war, post all of the 50s. If you can think of the music pre-Elvis Presley or whatever, and then post, you know, it's a big shift to more freedom, beatniks, hippies, flower power. There was a massive shift in the 60s away from that old thing, but that got crushed. You know, Vietnam War came in and all that was kind of subdued and all this kind of thing. So the ancestral programming goes a long way back. You know, there's a lot of war in my bloodlines, you know, British Empire war, you know, India and all of that stuff. All of that, I did an ayahuasca journey, 5 hours of clearing war in my energy field. I was carrying it in my field. It's not mine, it's my grandfather's. They were in France fighting in trenches. There's bloodlines themselves go back. If you go back far enough, even the bloodlines have been interfered with or genetically modified by ET, positive, negative influences. There's all kinds of influences. There's black magic, psychic interference on bloodlines, you know. I've had clients who have whose ancestors were slaves, for example, and a lot of slave ancestors use black magic to attack the slave owners. But of course, if you're sending it, it comes back as well. So it's on the bloodline, whether you send it or whatever. This all has to be cleared out. And then you've got other lifetimes. And if you're someone who's at a point of, I'm going to come out the spiritual closet, I'm going to follow my heart, then you're in your unconscious mind, there may be, hey, you were burnt as a witch. You were killed as a shaman. You were, the Illuminati threw you in the dungeon, and you're like, I want to come out, but I don't want to come out. You know, this is very common. I want to follow my heart, but I'm a bit scared to follow my heart. You know? This is because this planet has been so dark for a long time, and we've taken on all these layers of programming. So conditioning from this lifetime, ancestral programming, other lifetime. I mean, that's a lot of layers. It's layers of an onion. That we're peeling, we're peeling the layers and coming out going, hey, I'm following my heart, I'm doing my life's mission, peeling the layers. I've been doing it 30 years, I'm still peeling, you know. Every day practically there's something that's triggered.
I remember Corrigood, when I spent time with him and I did the interview with him, he was really referring the earth as like a chicken field, that, you know, they have been a kind of like growing us here, and it's such a mess and so many layers on everything that he was really referring the earth as just a chicken field, and that was
we're the rebel chickens.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're escaping the coop, and they don't like it.
So you just mentioned all of that, and is it something that people can expect actually when they start waking up, you know, having all those back and forth between, I want to follow my heart, but I feel blocked, I feel limited, and then they're like, yeah, but I want to follow my heart. So because we can really see that even today with clients who work with me with the human design or some healing, or you may have the same with your clients, but we can really see how they have this self-sabotage, and they go through phases of, I'm super happy, everything is so fine. They have this will, and suddenly we don't know why they go deep into blockages, self-sabotage, and they just struggle again for another year or something like that.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of interference, such as cording. Cords get, there's all kinds of reasons we're corded in different places in the body, sexually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We can get corded in. We have to cut all those cords. We have taken agreements with all kinds of churches and spiritual groups and spiritual leaders and even people in our soul family to go and rescue them. And we have got all kinds of layers of agreements. We have to destroy every single agreement that we come across. I mean, there are positive agreements, but the majority of agreements we're carrying are negative. There are psychic attack that happens. We can have openings in our energy field where things can come in, like a back door in your house that you don't know about. They have to be closed and disappeared and sealed forever. There's devices, negative alien AIs. There's all this kind of, when you go into the fourth dimension and the upper fourth dimension, things can go in your energy field. You go, well, what's that? You can have weird stuff in your energy field. I'm clearing every day. I'm clearing clients and myself of all this weird shit. And they go, I didn't know I had this stuff in my energy field. And I'm like, yeah, it's this is part of the purging, because the spiritual journey is really mostly purging. And then when you purge and empty, you go, oh, now I know who I really am. I know what I really feel. I know what I really value, what I really think, what I really dream. I don't have all these layers of stuff over it. So I think most of my job is clearing and helping people find the core of who they truly are. And beyond all of and then there's the other aspect of it is our ego. It's another big aspect. So the ego is not one thing, it's a family of beings inside of us. We have this whole family of energies, like the child self, the adolescent self, the rebel self, the conformist, the extrovert, the introvert, all of them.
The deny, the whatever it is, right?
The denier, the pleaser, the achiever, the smart one, all of these ones. But what happens?
I like that you. I really like that you refer the family. The ego family.
Yeah, it's a family.
I often feel like I'm not the only one in my head. It's like with many of us.
There's many Bens.
Yeah, many Bens. Yeah.
And the family is a bit like driving a car. Sometimes one or two are in the driving seat and the rest are in the back seat giving advice or whatever. And sometimes it changes. If you're in a party, you may be extrovert, and at home you may be introvert. Sorry, dear, I didn't mean to spill the tea on the table or whatever it is. And we change. At work we may be an arrogant boss, and at home we may be pliable, easygoing. Different triggers trigger different parts of us. But the process is of knowing all of these parts, the ones hidden and the ones who are in the driving seat, embracing them all and upgrading them all to align with our true self, our true we have a baby joining us. That's nice.
Yeah.
Hello, baby. Sometimes I have cats joining me on interviews. I like cats, dogs, babies. They want to check me out.
We have the big family then.
Yeah, the whole family wants to come in, and this is who we are, because there's some spiritual paths that say go after the ego with a big knife and kill it. Yeah. Because you shouldn't have an ego, but it's ridiculous.
It really is. Yeah.
Everyone here has an ego. Otherwise, you'd be like. I can't name names, but I've seen one or two spiritual teachers that seem to have destroyed their ego, and they've got no personality. There's like nothing there apart from, there's nothing really there. And they may think that's the object, but I don't think that's the object, to be completely empty so you can't feel there's anybody home. We want to align our extrovert, our joyful selves, our child selves with our higher self, all in alignment. We don't want to get rid of our inner child. It would be so boring.
No,
or our adolescent, you're naughty adolescent, Ben. I know you've got the naughty one.
I know, you know me.
I've done a few rituals with Ben. I don't know if I can say the word there, the MMM rituals, and they were such fun with your inner child, and it's great. You don't want to get rid of that part of you. So it's a shame that I think some people following, for example, the Course in Miracles have got the wrong idea, because I think the Course in Miracles is not completely, there's some brilliant things in it, but it's not completely aligned, I think, when it comes to the ego. It talks about the ego in terms of the enemy, and I don't see the ego as the enemy. Yeah, there are parts which are seeking to block us and resist, but we don't fight them. It's a bit like throwing a 5-year-old part of us out of the room that's having a tantrum. We embrace that part. We love it and go, what's wrong? We don't throw it out where it becomes even worse. And denial is, or suppression. You know, the Catholic Church tried that with sexuality, and look what happened, pedophilia. So it's not a good tactic.
It's not a good, no, it really is not. I really like what you said about the spiritual journey, seeing the spiritual journey as like a purging, a cleansing, you know, like purging completely. I really like that. I always felt it was about clearing myself completely to be able to return to the innocence. That's what really I call, you know, returning to the innocence of me and just embracing whatever is coming out of me. And, you know, if it's anger, it's anger. If it's joy, it's joy. But really accepting all of those parts and purging whatever is not serving me, to really be this clear channel with my higher self, clear divine channel, which is what will be your definition of the healing path? Like, I always refer the healing path, the spiritual journey, the healing journey, more than you know, like alignment, as you say, not really like, oh, I need to heal that because this is wrong, but mostly I just need to get back aligned with what's correct, right?
Yeah, we have to heal all our feelings of underlying fear, underlying anger, underlying not feeling we belong, not feeling safe is a big one, actually, because a lot of starseeds don't feel safe in this world, and it's a dangerous world. 3D as a dimension, as a density, is a dangerous world. You know, it's like a playground where you get kicked off the swing, you know. And but in 5D, it's a different type of playground. There's a different type of energy. So as I don't know if it's Jesus the Christ said it, you can be in the world but not of the world. So you can walk in the world, but you don't have to be in the reality that most people are in. You can shift the reality, and you have to kind of meet all our resistance, fear, helplessness, powerlessness first. We meet it and we embrace it, and we understand it. You know, if we've been killed, burnt alive as a witch, of course we may feel a little bit of anxiety about coming out. We have to embrace this with kind of a bit more wisdom and compassion. We may feel that good things don't happen to us. We may fear rejection. We may be the black sheep of the family or the rainbow sheep, you know, all of these things. And all of it has to be healed. We may have victim programming or martyrhood programming. You know, I have to suffer to be loved. You know, people have this. Or growth has to be done the hard way. People I've met believing the only real growth comes through suffering, you know. And you know, what about expanding joy? How about growing through expansion of joy? They look at me like, say that again. Like that didn't compute. I want more blood, more nails through the palms. I want to be up on the cross, you know. So all of these things in ourselves, we have to meet. We have to meet all of our addictiveness. We have to meet anywhere our sexual energy has been hooked into and manipulated, because there's a massive manipulation of sexual energy on the program. Everywhere you look, it's women are objectified, you know, in a certain way, and men's energy are being hooked into, women's energy are being hooked into. There's, you know, women are, if women don't want to have children, there's something radically wrong with them. But you know, the planet is not like underpopulated. It's again a weird breeding program. So there are all these things we have to meet. We have to meet our trauma. Really, trauma is a big one. And we have to meet our boundaries and our lack of boundaries. You know, we have to meet our guilt and shame, and anywhere that you know, we've been on our knees scrubbing the floor with a toothbrush in some past life. All of it, we have to meet all of it and have compassion for all of it and go, yeah, I've been through all this stuff and now I can choose something different, even though I've been through all of that in this lifetime. You know, and I joke with people when I say, why can't you come out of the spiritual closet? And they go, well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what? And it's kind of like the dark forces. And I say, well, look, Joe Biden and Boris Johnson is not interested in you, the Reiki healer, or you, the ancestral healer, or you, the human design. He doesn't care. If you are a whistleblower, then yeah, I'd be worried. But if you're not that, forget it. Even if you're a witch, don't worry, come out. Everyone's happy now. Everyone. When I worked in the church, actually, St. James's Church in Alternatives, it was in the basement of a church. I had a bit of a set to with the church. Someone wrote a letter to the church complaining and I had to go to the church, Bishop of London's office, actually. And at the time, I had a website that looked very Wiccan and very shamanic.
Yeah.
And before the meeting, they got their PR person to check me out. And in the meeting, they said, they got a print out of my website and they went, "What's this?" And I looked at it. So internally, I went, "Oh, shit." Bishop of London's found me out. Now I'm a hidden witch. So I just said to him, "Look, you know, in this day and age," I did say it to him, "nobody's being burnt anymore for this kind of thing. It's a free world and all paths lead to God," is my view. And there's no law that says otherwise. And they kind of backed away and went, "Oh, okay." But I thought I had to change my website pretty quick, actually, because and I did. I made it a bit more neutral back in those days. So yeah, we have to face all of it. And I think when we're on the path, we'll face everything. I had a lot of stuff around money and abundance and scarcity. I had to face all of it, and it got worse. And so usually when we face a pattern, it gets worse to get better. So I was like, am I going to be homeless? I've got no money to eat this week. It got that bad. Now I'm like in like golden river of flow of abundance, never experienced so much. Everything that I would be afraid of came out. I had a terrible fear of spiders. I mean, it was obsessive fear of spiders. That if there was one in the room, a little one, I'd be like, "Oh God, I have to just, excuse me, I can't be on this call. I just have to get my partner to get rid of the spider." When I started the shamanic path, I was meeting large spiders in these journeys. And I'm like, "Oh my God," And then I remember being on a retreat and I went to say to the teacher, "I'm meeting all these spiders and there's giant webs blocking my way." And she said, "Oh yeah, go and ride on one of their backs and you'll be fine." And I'm like, "No, I'm phobic." And she said, "No, go." And when I did, I went in the garden with a glass and I caught a little tiniest spider I could catch and put it in the glass. And I used to send it love every morning for 10 minutes. And then eventually the fear started to dissolve and I could ride on the backs of the spiders. And now when I meet them, they're like, of course there are spiders which are low frequency, you don't want to meet them, but there are helpful ones as well. So, there are all kinds of helpful beings.
Very interesting.
So we face everything. If we got a fear around intimacy or betrayal, you're going to meet it. It will get worse to get better. That's my experience anyway. So I don't know if that sounds like the good news, but maybe it doesn't sound so good, but it eventually is good.
Eventually it's good. Wow, awesome. Well, thank you, Steve, for all those sharings. I would love to take a look on your human design chart.
Yeah, sure.
Before we continue and before, letting everyone, if they have questions for you, and maybe then we can continue to talk a little bit more about Starseeds. But let's look at your design, and if maybe Tom, if you would like to share anything or say something with us as well. So this is Steve. Steve, let me know if it's correct. And you say October 6th, 1979, London. Up. So that's correct. We have three amazing channels here that we can really see. This is the intimacy. This is the channel of discovery. So really going to discover, pushing into the kingdom of heaven. That's what really you have the energy for, Steve, here. It's really to push, to see the tension that we have here in the world that is not working, because you were born under the cross of tension, and, recognizing the tension and to what we have been committing, our energy. So we can push upwards and really reach something more beautiful. And then the channel of the beat, which is clearly the channel of the this higher self here, responding to life. Tom, is anything you would like to share with us, or to comment? Or
most definitely. Before we look at the chart, let's talk about how lovely a world we'd be living in if this was the 6 o'clock news every evening. Because this actually is the news that is actually new, okay, and meaningful and truthful and beautiful and good. So a 4-6 born on the cross of tension. What a lovely position. He's a provocateur extraordinaire, like myself. We're always provoking people to look for the spirit. The 38, the gate of the fighter. Okay, we're going to fight to find purpose. There's stubbornness in there. Okay, you have to be stubborn to overcome all of this ridiculous oppression that they're trying to throw at us. Okay. All right. The keeper of the keys, the 14, the 2. He's talking about receptivity. In order for possession in great measure to empower the identity and the direction of a person, it has to go through the receptive. We're becoming receptive to that which is meaningful. I appreciate what he said about the will. We are not here to be willless. We are here to align our will to the will. Okay? Keeper of the keys, discovery, saying yes to pushing upward into a better way. Call it heaven if you like that concept. But nonetheless, it is all about discovery of finding what the real truth is. He mentioned the idea of those who have the eyes to see, he does. Those who have the ears to hear, he does. Isn't it lovely to listen to a broadcast coming from that place rather than all the nonsense that we're talking about or that we're being conditioned by? You know, he's on the same page. It's like you don't all have to belong to the same organization. And this business of the transition that's going on is being discussed by everyone. Everyone has their own language to put to the phenomenon, but the phenomenon is happening. It's not something we have to do. It's something we simply have to be receptive to. And that's what this man is discussing. It's an incredibly beautiful thing. In intimacy, it can be on more levels than just the idea of making children. He mentioned that. Half the women in this world were never designed to have children anyway, but that was the role that was put upon them, okay? So at any rate, it's just delightful, Steve, to have this visit with you. You're really spot on. Yeah, you're a 50 kid. I'm a 52 kid. You're a 57 kid. We've been around a while. You know, you got to get up pretty damn early in the morning to fool us anymore. And here we have people like Ben, half our age, that's keeping up with us. It's clear that the progress is being made. We all just need to chill out, be receptive, and watch what's coming and be open to it. We don't know what it is yet. We've never lived under those circumstances. We've lived under this fear program for a long time, but the fear is going to be replaced by love. And just like light and dark, you can't have them both in the same room at the same time. You can't get where you're going if you're not willing to leave where you're at. And that's the tension this man's talking about. There's a creative tension in all of this, okay? And you can no longer sweep it under the carpet. It's so polarized. So at any rate, absolutely delightful. We should circumvent all the news at 6 o'clock all over the world and insert this in there and show people would actually see what's actually going on instead of the ridiculous nonsense they want us to believe. So kudos, Steve. Really lovely to spend this time with you. And thanks for showing up for all of us. And this is a beautiful thing to see a 4-6 that's really in touch with their unconscious process, because that's where their real opportunity lies, to uncover the obscured and bring it out. And Steve, you're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks, Tom. That's nice.
You're welcome very much.
That's nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's so much more that could be said, but I would like everybody to have an opportunity, all of our voices together. It's not us or them. It's all of us. It's not winners and losers. It's nothing but winners. That's what's coming. So at any rate, that's my salvo, and it was delightful to hear the real news for a change.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. Awesome. It's always beautiful to hear, you know, everyone speaking their design and observing how this program is here, this system for us. So yeah, fantastic. Anything you would like to say, Steve, about that?
No, it's amazing, isn't it? I'm glad I'm living true to my design. I've heard some people's designs when they come up with martyr heretic. I think, oh God, I'm glad I'm not a martyr heretic. I'd much rather be an opportunist role model. That's much nicer.
Yeah. Gri or Vilborg, Jenna or Jen, do you have any questions, comments, observation regarding everything that Steve shared? Maybe if you have been seeing his YouTube channel, so all the meditation that are available. So if you have any questions, regarding this process that Steve share with us, or anything you would like to say?
Go real fast. I just thank you for sharing. Excited to now go consume your content you put out in the world in the way too. It just first introduction to your stuff and connecting and aligning with so much that you said. And I was also present too. I'm not one that's ever liked movies, but as a child, Wizard of Oz was my favorite movie. Yeah. My family would like fast forward when I wasn't watching because it was so long, but it's like the only movie I've watched on repeat. So you spoke to my heart there. I was like, maybe I've known from a little age that there's something at work here.
Yeah, I think movies are great metaphors for a lot of things, you know. Actually, when I was very young, I remember seeing Bewitched for the first time. You remember Elizabeth Montgomery coming, wiggling her nose. And my father said, this is not suitable viewing for you. And he turned it off. And I was like, my gosh, you know, he must have known there was something weird about me, but he tried his best to stop it, but he couldn't, you know. So I use films as metaphors all the time, because I think it's a great way of reaching people. Everyone has seen a film, you know, and Wizard of Oz, most people know Wizard of Oz. So, and that classic scene with the wizard behind, you know, and all, I just love that old classic. The modern one is didn't really touch me so much, but the old classics are fabulous. Yeah, fabulous. Yeah, thank you. Is everyone here a human design trainer, facilitator?
They are all, you know, I created this little online platform using the Mighty Network. And they are all like my community people who are, we have around 70 members, but because it is like lunchtime for us in the US, so some are working, and so it's a bit difficult to catch everyone. But it will be put on the hub that I created. But everyone is mostly interested in design, in the human design, and they are trying to live out, you know, from their strategy, authority, from out their design, and because I'm not only design, I really love many different tools. So the month of December, we had a different speakers that are from my network that I really appreciate. They came and they share with us different information.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, I love the system. It's such a great, I came across it in the 90s. Richard Beaumont in England was doing a Mind, Body, Spirit exhibition. And I looked at these diagrams and I thought, they are too crazy. I'm just not gonna, because he was the editor of the Kindred Spirit magazine, and then he went into this, and it took me a while. I was a bit resistant for a while, thinking, no, those weird diagrams, you know, they should look a bit more pleasant, you know. I'm Libra and I don't like people looking like triangles, so I think that put me off, really, just the look of it. But when I got into the you know, looking into the intricacies of it, it's amazing. In Bulgaria, it's very big in Bulgaria. I had a few people give me readings in Bulgaria, and they're really into it in a big way in Bulgaria. So yeah, I guess there are pockets here and there of people interested in it. So
yeah, absolutely. It really is a fascinating system, you know, in a way. We could say it's kind of like the understanding of the program that we are living in. You know, it's kind of like the key of the Maya that we live in, you know, so we can understand this illusion, and we can recognize that those bodies that we have are some sort of a bio-machine vehicle, and our personality is nothing else than just, you know, passenger consciousness. So we like this passenger sitting in the body, and as you say, to just be receptive, to see what's coming, to align the wheel, and to really be receptive, and letting the body just driving us, you know, the vehicle taking us on a journey.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, this, because I'm an O blood, and I follow the eat right for your blood type. And O blood is the meat eaters and the hunters. And I thought, hey, I'm a starseed. I shouldn't have a meat eating body. I was vegetarian for 27 years. I was told I had to stop. So now I eat a little bit of organic here and there. But now I understand that actually having an O body, the hunter, I'm quite strong, actually. And, you know, I need to have a body that's going to keep going for a long time. And so there is I guess all of the programs I've chosen, 4-6 generator is perfect. I guess there's a great intelligence to the universe in all of these areas. Yeah, and being born in a working class family in London, I didn't like it. I should have been born in a wealthier family, and I should have gone to private school, and I value education. But now I look back, I think it's perfect. You know, if I'd have gone and been programmed through some private school and university, I'd have to undo a lot of it. You know, and So just being like my ex-girlfriend used to call me a Hackney alley cat. Hackney is the kind of one of the parts of London which is not very wealthy. She said, "You're a Hackney alley cat," and I said, "Yeah, that's what I am, a Hackney alley cat."
How funny.
Yeah. So I can talk hopefully in a way that's a bit more entertaining than. I've seen a lot of academics speak, and academics are the worst speakers for. There's not very high inspiration. It's very dry and factual and boring, not engaging. I prefer to be engaging, and I like people to be engaging. Otherwise, why would I listen to someone if they're going to bore me to death? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're giving me your time and energy. I don't want to bore you.
Yeah,
really. No, I have a few stories that. Come on, throw them in. Wizard of Oz, throw them in there.
No, yeah, that was amazing. I mean, I'm having a good time. I don't know for the rest of you, but I'm really having a good time. So it's really nice. Is anything you could, maybe I have a question. Is anything you could give us like let's say maybe 3 steps or 3 things that we could look at it on a daily basis, you know, to maybe clean up our energy or to be aware, or like 3 little things, you know, that you will recommend for us to be mindful or to protect, or you know, something that could be relevant.
Well, a simple thing would be in meditation to go in and ask, do I have any negative agreements with my mother line? And you have to get really clear what negative means. Negative means pointless, suffering, no, you know, there's zero growth, zero, because some things we agree to and there are a point to it. So the higher self would say, yeah, there's a point to keeping it. But anything that was completely pointless, keeps us in drama, suffering, just in meditation, ask, are there any agreements I have with the mother line ancestors that are negative? And if there are, show me now with scrolls. And if any appear, rip them up, throw them in the light of the sun and ask them to be destroyed, all layers, levels, and dimensions. And any possibility they will be recreated. Then ask the same for your father line. Then ask, do I have any old religious agreements anywhere, any religion which is pointless, useless, that can be destroyed, destroy them. Do I have any bloodline agreements with other bloodline, royal aristocratic bloodlines? You know, we used to take blood oaths before. I vow with blood to follow this person into battle. You want to, and if you're any agreements like that, you want to destroy any of those agreements. So you want to find the process of destroying all negative agreements in any dimension that could possibly touch you, that from other lifetimes, this lifetime, that would affect you. And some of those agreements could be very, like, I remember when I was younger, I said to my mother, basically, when I grow up, I'll buy you a house and make you happy. It sounds like a childlike agreement, but these agreements, the unconscious takes seriously. And I tried for years to try and make my depressive martyrhood mother be happy, and it didn't work. So I found a partner that I would work on, and the agreement just run with somebody else. You have to destroy all of these, you know.
Wow.
Anything where you feel, if you have children, I have any agreement, I'm responsible for their happiness. You know, we're not responsible for happiness of wife, children. We have a responsibility of care, of love, but not, we can't make choices for them. We can't get in their head and change their thinking. So agreements of all kinds have to be destroyed. And I know in England, I had, even though I know the royal family are not really totally of the light, even though people have come in which are a bit more light, I still had some old programming of allegiance to them. And I had to destroy it, you know, because it's deep, you know, you know, Queen and all that. That's
this is something that is huge in America, and I can see that. You know, I was born in France, so I don't have this problem, but I can see how American people are so loyal to America, the flag. You cannot talk bad to America. You cannot do bad things to America. You know, it's huge. So the programming to the land it's huge.
Yeah, and even the vow, I think Americans take, you know, people take vows, and they to the flag. You have to really look at it, and you know, and any marriage vows. If you've been divorced, destroy the marriage vows in meditation, because those vows may still be hanging around in your psyche. The other thing is any courting with any sexual partners, big problem usually. Any sexual partner, cut. If you've got if anybody's projecting sexual energy towards you, just ask to be shown and cut with a sword of might, pull it out, get rid of it, seal your energy, get rid of it. what else would be a good one? Every day I make a grounding exercise in the crystalline grid of the earth, because there's a new grid of the earth. It's a 5D crystalline grid. The old grid contains all of the old wars and history of humanity. We should not be grounding into that in meditation. We ground into the new one. A lot of people are still grounding into the old grid. So you have to say to your unconscious, not that one, the new one, the higher vibrational one. And also the sun. I connect daily to the earth and to the sun. We should cut out any connection to the moon. This might be heresy to some people, but the moon is not a safe energy to connect with in meditation or magically in any shape or form. I did a lot of shamanism and Wicca working with the moon, and I know the dangers of it. I've seen it. It's powerful, but it's not a clean energy. It's got lower astral gateways, and you should be careful of it. So the true channel of light between is the sun, central sun, great central sun, down to the Earth star, crystalline grid, core of Gaia. That is the true channel. Do not go into these other channels. I know the Native American Indians talk about grandmother moon and all this kind of thing, but I think we have to be very careful of it, because the moon is probably not even a real thing. It's probably an artificial satellite anyway. Corey Good would say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And with all the bases that are on the moon, actually, and all this, like the slavery that Corey was talking with me, that they took children, they bring them on the moon, and then they transfer them to Mars into all those slaveries. So the moon is really, really not.
It's part of a frequency control.
Yeah, we don't want to tune into that. Yeah.
But women may say, but what about menstruation? And I'm not saying, I can feel, what about my menstruation? And we're not talking about the gravitational pull of the moon, because you can't go and we're not talking about that. So yes, you may feel aligned with the gravitational pull of the moon, and that's one thing. I'm talking about working magically with the moon, or working doing full moon parties. I mean, I think putting your crystals under the full moon is not such a bad thing. Who cares about that? But any magical thing that involves the moon, don't do it, because lunacy has a reason why it's called lunacy. There's a lunatic. It's connected to the cycles of the moon. When the moon is full, there's a lot of weird energies that go on. So we don't want to energetically be connecting in meditation to the moon. You want to connect to the sun. The sun is if you think of what is the object of God in most cultures, the sun is the safest object. And beyond the sun, there's a central sun, great central sun, great. There's a number of suns that lead back all the way back to the center of the universe. And that is the alignment. That's the pathway of God, really, that we follow. We don't have these moons, which are just like empty rocks.
Some sort of satellites. They're just satellites turning around. Yeah.
And this is something I can't really say, because I'm not a woman. I don't have a menstruation cycle. But what I've heard channels talk about, and what I do believe in, is that conception is something that can be managed consciously, that we can actually choose to conceive, choose not to conceive. And I've been practicing that for years, actually. And I won't go into my intimate thing, but I wanted to try it out. Is it work? And it does work. You can consciously say, I don't want to have children, or I do. And I remember there was a time when my ex-partner, there was a soul wanting to come in really strongly. We were dreaming about this soul, and friends were dreaming about this soul. And I remember saying to my partner, do you want a child? And she went, it would be nice. And I was like, alarm bells. So I really had to chat with her until she got to us. Yes, of course, she's got a child. She's at an age where maybe, and she wants a career. And she went, no, actually, you're right. I don't want another. I didn't want another child. And the child went somewhere else. So you can actually do that. And one channel said, Barbara Marciniak, which came out with some interesting stuff.
Yes.
Barbara Marciniak said that women's menstrual cycle is naturally connected to the sun and not to the moon. But that's part of the old frequency. Now, I can't say I can hand on heart say I know anything about that, but as a possibility, I think that's something in the future. Because if you think that if a female cycle was aligned to the sun, the population of the planet wouldn't be 8 billion. It would be a more manageable thing, really.
Exactly.
Really, but
is she Barbara? Is she the woman who is channeling the Pleiad?
Bringers of the Dawn, Family of Light.
Yes.
She's very into conspiracy theory these days. If you go onto a channel, she talks about Clinton and that, but I don't really need to listen too much about that. But But the early books, the first 3 books are brilliant. Earth,
is it the
Bringers
live
of the Dawn, Family of
yes
Light.
yeah okay, so I have the first one, I think, in audio, so I will try to put it for everyone to listen, because she's talking about the living library of the Pleiad, right?
Yeah, and she kind of talks about the dark forces, the reptilian forces. She talks about, she kind of predicted 9/11 way before 9/11 was happening. She kind of said there are going to be events coming that, you know, are not going to be what it seems, you know, and so I do have a lot of respect for her and these beings. I think there's a lot of interest now on the planet from Pleiades and other systems, because we're at this nexus point of change. You know,
so are those being, can we consciously connect? So mostly for others, because I know this is my daily practice, I really connect every day with Arcturians or Pleiadians or Blue Avians, and I'm really constantly connecting with them. But question for everyone, like, can we reach out to those beings, and are they here to help us, to support us? What's our relationship with those aliens, you know?
So star seeds on the Earth plane are nomadic souls. So all of us are nomadic souls, which means we've hung out in Pleiades, we've hung out in Sirius, we've hung out in Arcturus. We've been around the block, many of them, and we have connections, quite strong connections to some of them, and connections to others. So some of us may have really strong connection to Sirius, some of us may feel we have connection to Pleiades, but basically we have connection to nearly all of them. So on my channel, I've done a lot of starseed, stellar race meditations. So really my attitude is try them out, and one will go, oh my God. You know, I did the Blu-ray transmission, and after doing it, my whole body was vibrating for a week or 2. That was so strong for me. And so it's like, rather than think, well, yeah, it could be this, could be that, go and try a few things, and then go, oh, I really resonate with this, because you'll feel it in your nervous system. Will tell you, you know, you don't have to go, you don't have to think it. Your body will be like, wow, I feel alive on this one, or so expanded, or warm, or light. Some you might feel nothing, and some you may feel a bit, well, I'm not sure about them, you know. And that's what I think you should do. But Pleiades, most starseeds have some connection with Pleiades. So Pleiades is a good one to start, because they're very intertwined with the planet. Their DNA has been here for a long time, you know, before darker forces got interested in us. And then the chicken farms. We weren't originally a chicken farm. We were originally a library of light.
Exactly. Oh, brilliant.
Going back to that.
Yeah, wonderful. That's amazing. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate all of your time and your sharings. Do you guys have do you guys have any questions, comments, or observation that you would like to share? Yeah, Vilborg, yeah, you want? Unmute yourself.
There, I thought I did. No, it was really good to hear when you talked about this blood type, O blood type, because I'm O negative, and and I have tried not to eat meat. It doesn't work for me.
No.
And it was just so good to hear. Yeah, okay, it's okay then.
Yeah, I still do a lot of veggie, but I do go and have lamb occasionally, because lamb's kind of free range, and organic chicken, some a little bit. I can't eat beef though, or anything like that. I still feel I can't eat beef. They're too, or any of that, or octopus. I can't. After it's so intelligent creature, I couldn't possibly eat something like that. But my body needs something, so you know, bless the lambs. You know, not too often, a little bit here and there. So. Yeah, I was vegetarian for 27 years, a long time. So, but yeah, not anymore. So, more of pescatarian now these days.
Yeah.
Well,
nice. Yeah. Anyone else would like to add or say something? And Steve, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good?
Yeah, going to go out and eat soon. Christmas is here. We're going to our favorite plant-based restaurant. They do amazing. Just amazing.
Are you in London at
Brighton?
the moment? Oh, you're in Brighton. Yeah. How do you enjoy being in Brighton?
We're 30 seconds from the sea. The sea air blows all the cobwebs and all of that stuff away, and
so much better than being in London.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So much better. And there's lots of cool things in Brighton. It's very alternative. It's a gay capital of England. Because that means there's a lot of alternative stuff going to go on, and people are pretty liberal in a place like this because of that anyway, you know. So there's ozone therapies down the road, there's cranial over there. We went for a flotation tank, me and my partner, both of us in a big flotation tank.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
What else do we do? All of the possible alternative therapies here to keep us going, you know, keep my body going. Oh, so life isn't so bad in England after all. No, and I have 4 grandkids now. They come down, Granddad, we want to go swimming. Okay, let's go. But not this weather. Not the Wim Hof method. I can't do any of that stuff. I'm not into cold sea. I've got friends who jump in this freezing. I just think they're mental.
Even in summertime it's freezing, so going in a winter I cannot even imagine, you know.
I know, no, it's too cold. We have been in this year a couple of times, 2 or 3 times swimming, but I went for a scuba recently. That was like, that was amazing.
That was good,
breathing underwater with the thing.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm exploring and still keeping alive, you know, trying to grow, do new things. Going to see Matrix 4 with my son, hopefully in a week's time.
I think it's coming out tomorrow, and I'm very excited to see what they have been up to and how it will be. Yeah.
I hope it's not disappointing. June was interesting as well. The film June, if you like sci-fi, that was an interesting one.
I haven't.
A lot of Orion stuff there as well, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, betrayal and
all
of that.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you very much again. That was really nice having you, connecting with you. So thank you for your time. I really hope that next year I will be able to fly overseas again. Because as you said, I love what you just said. Like, I'm a nomad, you know, and my mind, I always have been trying, my ego always have been trying to find a home base and roots. But I really love going around this planet and just.
You have to do some of those rituals again where you are, those magic, you know, what rituals. Magic M rituals, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Fabulous. I will.
You're a genius of it.
Thank you. I do some of them. I do here, you know, and here, you know, in the US, I do. People really enjoy that. But if I come back to Europe, for sure, we'll do more.
Okay. Lots of love to you all.
Lots of love to you, Steve. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of you to being here. And maybe see you next year. Maybe we do another thing next year at some point.
Okay. Lots of love, everyone. Happy Christmas. Happy solstice.
Yeah. Happy solstice.
A lot, Steve.
Thanks, Tom.
For spending some time with us.
Oh, pleasure.
Happy holidays, everyone. Bye-bye.